Welcome to this night's edition of TNA Sports with P. Williamson. Tonight we have Marshall McPherson of the Vancouver Nightmare, here to answer a few questions about his recent struggles and a few others regarding his team, as in Michael Abdallah and Brian Burke, among others. Marshall, pleased to meet you, and care to tell us how your mid-season struggles have affected you? Well, Petey, it hasn't been fun. We started out of the gate pretty strong. I had a shutout in my first game. Had a string of, I think, 13, 14 games without letting in more than 3 goals. We had to play a tight defensive game. We were struggling to score, and I was trying the best to keep the puck out of the net and keep the boys in the game night after night, and recently I just haven't been that player that they need me to be, and it's been hard, because, you get back to the locker room after a third period loss, and, you feel like everybody's watching you, and you don't know what to say. You're the one who didn't come through for them, and you worry about it. You're worried about whether or not they resent the fact that Burke signed me for so long. You can't really tell sometimes. There might be words that they're not saying. There has been a couple guys come up and told me not to worry about it, and honestly, that helps. Just, we get back to the locker room, everybody's down, and, we could have really used that 2 points, and third period, scores tied 1-1 or 2-2, and, with a couple minutes left, the puck sails over my shoulder, and now we're down a goal, and we're playing catch-up, and, there's only so much time left in the game to catch up, and, I can stop everything after that, but the fact of the matter is, if we can't score that goal to tie it up, and we can't take it into overtime, well, there you have it. We're out 2 points. Whoever we're playing is up 2 points, and we lose our spot in the standings. We've been high up on the western side for the duration of the year so far, and I honestly don't know what to say, because we've been playing our hardest, and we've been struggling lately. The team's been scoring a bit more. Just that my play is, hasn't been that great, and we've tried to capitalize on it, scoring as many goals as possible. That way, it gives me a bigger break, and I think during the first start of the season, I think they realized they might have been counting on me a bit too much, and, the pressure finally got to me, and, I was expected to play standing on my head night in and night out, and, basically I think they realized I'm still a rookie, and they were expecting a lot from me. They signed me to a long contract, but, you can't really expect me to stand on my head every night, and I can't expect that of myself either. I'm going to let the occasional goal in. I'm going to screw up. I'm not perfect, and nobody is, but there's not much can be done or said about it, but go out there, stand between the pipes, and play my best. Well, Marshall, speaking of scoring, how do you feel about Michael Abdallah and his indecision to re-sign with the Vancouver Nightmares thus far? Well, Petey, it's been frustrating. It makes you question whether or not he is going to re-sign. I've chatted with him a couple times. He really hasn't let me know too much. I think he wants to re-sign. He's just unsure. I think he might want to test the free agent market, just see what other teams are going to pay to get him to play for them. It's frustrating, because he's a really good guy, and he's a great leader in the locker room, and to have your leader wondering whether or not he's going to stay, I don't know, it might bring morale down. It doesn't really bother me. I'd like for him to stay. I know there's a few rookies out there who would love to play with him, but if he does decide to leave, sign with another team, I suppose I wish him the best, although I don't really see why he would join another team. He got 5 teams he can score on. Now, if he stays with the Nightmare, or, he could go to another team and have a team that he'll never score on in the Nightmare. Oh, God, did you tell him it? Yeah, actually, Petey, I did. I told him, go to another team. You're not going to be scoring on this one after you leave. And I'm pretty sure Dewey wouldn't be too happy either. getting called 2 minutes every time he slashes him instead of Burke telling him to slash harder. That might have something to do with it. But I could promise Deasy, if he wants to leave, he's going to get quite a few slashes behind the ref's back. And, well, let's just say his ankles aren't going to be much better than they are now. Speaking of Burke, has he been talking to you lately regarding any matters in the locker room? No, it's, he comes in, tells us to keep our head up. He's a good guy to play for, and, he's looking at the team, and hopefully he's trying to figure something out get us to scoring again, and, mixing up the lines and all that. It's been a struggle lately, and I'm sure he'll pull through it and figure something out. Oh, speaking of lineups there, Marshall, for the first, I'd say probably 10 to 15 games of the season, it seems that you guys always had a player injured and you're always playing a man down. How's it now, seeming that since you're playing with a full roster, you seem to be struggling? However, with a man down, you guys seem to excel. There could be the desperation thing there, Petey. When you're a man down, you're playing harder because you realize you can't rely on that player that's sitting on the bench, or if he is able to play through his injury, or sitting in the locker room watching, or on the bike, or whatever he's doing. You got to do without that player for the rest of the evening, and it'd be nice to have him out there, playing, taking the puck up ice or keeping the puck up ice. But you can't always count on that, and not having that player on the ice, you got to rely on yourself a bit more. You got to play harder. You got to make up for the deficiency. Burke might get a call up. He might only be there for a few games. He might not be the greatest player, but he's filling in. He's doing what he can, and you can't really blame him for that. He's not used to the SHL and the level of play. He's filling in. He's not a scrub, but he's not going to be a type of Jamie Donald type player where he's going to put up 20-some goals and 50-some points a season. Just hope for the best. Hopefully our boys can get back from injury as soon as possible and see where we can take the team from there. You've been talking about your long contract. I think if I'm not incorrect, that it's one of the longer ones that the Vancouver has ever signed anybody to. And as you said before, you want to play for the same team for the duration of your career, or not play at all. Have you tried talking to any other players about doing such a thing? Well, PD, of course I've talked to them. I'm not going to give up their names and say, I don't want to get them in trouble. I don't want them questioned on why they didn't or why they haven't, that sort of thing. But I have spoken to them. I said, if you sign here, stay here for a couple of years, you got to keep the nucleus of the team together. And, when you got a good nucleus of players, strong players who can fill their roles, and, they can provide the scoring punch, the shutdown player, you got a goalie who can stop the puck, blah, blah, blah. Once you get all that together, you got a championship team, and you can't keep that together when players are leaving, when their contracts are up, or leaving with free agency or through trades. You just got to, work through it, build upon it, and hopefully get a championship team together and see where you can go from there. Get a couple players here signed long term. It certainly increases morale because you know who you're going to be playing with the year next year and the year after, and you know what to count upon, and you know which guys you're going to see after the summer. You're not going to have to worry about lines. If something was working the previous year, it should be working again the next year. You hope that Burke can manage to re-sign everybody, convince them to re-sign. And whichever rookie he decides to draft first, hopefully he can sign him to a long-term contract as well. Well, Marshall, there's been reports that you've been in contact with several rookies. Would you care to talk about them? Dee, I love to, but that's strictly between me and the rookie, and of course Burke, who I've mentioned the rookies to. I've chatted with them, told them what it's like to be called upon to heed the call and come up to the SHL and step right in and see how well you do. The worst you could hope for is to get minimal playing time. The best you can hope for is to be slotted in on top line and, pile up the points. You just got to hope for the best, but not expect it, because that way you won't let yourself down. I've been an advocate of signing a long-term contract to whoever Burke decides to draft, being that, you want that player around for a while. If they're drafted highly, then you know that they're going to be a good player. They're dedicated, they got the right attitude, and you want to keep a player like that around as long as you can. So hopefully whoever Burke decides to draft, or whoever falls to us, depending if the person that we want to draft isn't available for us then, try to convince him to sign long-term and see how well it goes from there. Oh, any last words, Mac, before we sign off for tonight? Well, I wish everybody the best of luck heading into the playoffs. You're facing the nightmare, guys. You're going to need it. Talk to you later, Petey. Bye, Marshall.